welcome back to the cabin here. Finally back. It's the end of March. It's 36 degrees outside, 16 mile an hour wind. It's pretty gusty out there too. I've had a lot of questions about or comments about this cabin not going to hold heat. It's going to be drafty. That it's probably true to some extent, but definitely you can't debate with R value. But just to give you an idea, this little cabin, the walls are basically 1 inch thick, 1 inch thick rough sawn lumber. And right now, if you look at that thermostat, it's 62 degrees in here. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I haven't put any wood on the wood stove since I might have put a piece on there or two about 9 o'clock this morning. I just put a couple pieces on there. So, for the cabin in the woods, it works fine. And not having cavities in the wall, there's no place for critters to hide either. It's definitely not as warm or hold heat like your home. But hey, when we go up north, that's what we like to do. We cut wood and we keep the fire going. So it does work. You don't have to build a cabin like you do a house. We're so ingrained with different things that we do every day. What people say and do. You go on YouTube and they're building houses, according to building codes and so forth. This is basically a glorified deer blind, but we stay in it. And I've stayed in it for a whole week during the wintertime. So let's take a closer look at this wall here. This is board and batten siding, 1 inch rough sawn cedar. I did run spray foam between the boards. The batten is on the outside. Yeah, there was some gaps and some light showing intermittently, so I spray that in there to prevent wind infiltration, air infiltration, and to some degree it'll keep bugs out too. Eventually they might work their way in, but they would a normal house anyways. Traditionally, you're gonna put some insulation in here, put another layer of whatever over it, probably on the outside some house wrap before you do the siding. And even before you do the board and batten siding, you'd probably run some 1x and then have another air space. So this is the outside panel right here. There's nowhere for mice to hide. Big nasty spiders, whatever. If I see a spider, I kill it. He's not in the wall. So that's the gist of the cabin. That's how it's built. I ran studs. If you recall some of my past videos, I did have to run some stringers across. We have X bracing because there's no plywood to strengthen the walls. Pretty sturdy cabin. This wall's done a little differently. This one is probably better for air infiltration. I've got 1x10s going this way. There's felt paper on it on the outside, and then I put the live edge on the other side of the felt paper. So that one is a double thick wall in a sense with felt paper between them. And I did the live edge siding for looks. The gables are done that same way as this wall here. Go up here, take a look up there. That's done the same way. This wall here, for decorative purposes, I did put some 1x on the interior of the wall. Now it's not tongue and groove, and when I did it, I did put some caulk in between the boards, but so yeah, I've already got that cavity on this wall where little spiders can go and so forth. But I'll deal with it on that wall. It's kind of a feature wall. I like it. I did it over there as well. This wall has that paneling as well, kind of a shiplap look. But this wall is single thickness. This is an interior wall. Exterior's over there. If I go around the other side, There's no cavity, so very few places for critters to hide. Nice and comfortable in here. So let's take a look at this stairway. I never really talked about this stairway. It's pretty neat how I got this in here. So let's go to the floor. Between that corner and that hearth, there's 3 feet of space. And that's kind of a main thoroughfare walkway. The way I did the stairway, I would have needed a post right here. So I instead made this steel bracket. I bolted it to the wall. It's got that gusset right here. Prevents me from needing a post here. So if we look up top, that holds that landing. That landing is about 8 inches, 7-8 inches down from the loft. It's right at the top of this doorway. I kind of engineered it backwards to some extent. Comes down relatively steep, kind of almost a ladder fashion, to another platform, and then I spun it around here. Works pretty good. You know, it's small enough in here. For strength on that stairway, I ran this long 2x4 from floor to ceiling. I tied it in to the rafter. Give some lateral strength to the stairway. Let's go up it. Again, this is only a 16 by 16 cabin, so when you're going up, you can grab this kind of like a mini railing almost. You get up here, you can grab this one. This is the loft right here. You can see how that landing works out. Okay, so to make it fit, my stairway is 22 inches wide. The entire stairway is 22 inches wide. I've got about 8 inches rise between the steps. And because of the steepness, I guess it doesn't really matter, but they're 7 3/4 tread. Because of the steepness, you don't really want a riser behind there, because sometimes your feet go a little bit past there. Somewhat like a ladder, but not quite. So to strengthen each tread, I have 1x screwed to support it under each tread. We got cleats over on the sides there, sturdy up the treads. So it's kind of a ladder fashion, if you will. So I did that all the way up. Seems to work. We've been using it regularly between myself and a couple of the boys that stay in the cabin. We're 200 pounds plus, and the stairway works fine. So the landing works fine. No problems there. Landing's probably the sturdiest part. The railing, once the railing was up, that sturdied it up as well. So the landing right here, I used 2x8s for the floor. I didn't use a 1x because they're stronger, and I didn't. It's a fair span. I don't know. It's 3-4 foot across the landing there, so I didn't want it to be like a springboard. So I laid the 2x8s down. I had to cut one proper width here, but well, that's the stairway. That's how we did it here. I know there's a lot of different ways, but this is how we did ours. I'm cutting my trip a little short this time. I came up here with the intent of doing the porch deck, but it's just windy, snowy, wet, just above freezing. Not real desirable right now. The wind actually let up a little bit already, but so anyways, I did get my steps moved. They were on the front, and I didn't like how the water was always coming down on the steps, so I cut them up, moved them over here, made a little approach to it, and then next time I'm working on the porch and the railing. So till next time, see ya.